How's it going, guys? Football-ManagerYouthDevelopment.co.uk here. Welcome back to our Swansea playthrough, where our aim is to make as much money as possible using the Moneyball approach. In the last episode, we finished up the first season. The first season was pretty disappointing, unfortunately, so this season we do need to make sure that we're doing pretty well. I will show you the players that I have signed, but I'm very, very happy with the number of players that I have signed and the transfer dealings that I have made. In today's episode, we're going to be playing the first game of the season against Chelsea in the Premier League. As you can see, the pre-season friendlies were pretty successful. I've been playing around with a load of new different tactics, and yeah, as you can see, the results so far have been pretty decent. I would say though that only the decent teams that we did play, probably Lorient and Bursaspor, they're probably the teams that are roughly on our level, and against them two teams we did draw. We did actually score a fair amount of goals though, using the new tactics, and there was a couple of players in particular who did stand out. I will show you them players in a minute. In terms of where our finances are at the moment, so we have a transfer budget of £27 million. So far this season we've made a profit of £3 million, and our overall bank balance is sitting at £30 million. The good thing about last season making £25 million in profit, we were able to go into the summer transfer window with a pretty hefty transfer budget, which has made it a hell of a lot more easier for me to bring in exactly the type of players I wanted to bring into the club. There were a number of players at the end of last season I really was not happy with at all. So many of the players were unhappy, and they basically just wanted to leave Swansea. So a lot of the players that I did actually let leave the club, they were players that just wanted to leave, and they just simply didn't want to be at Swansea. So yeah, I just didn't want them at the club either, to be honest. So taking a look at the transfers in and out, I think I'm pretty much finished with the transfers or players that are coming into the club. In terms of players going out of the club, I can't particularly think of any other players who I'm going to be getting rid of. If we take a look at some of the bigger players that have left the club, so Andre Ayew, he was one of the first out the door. To be honest, I couldn't wait to get rid of him. He played pretty poorly the whole season. He only actually managed 1 goal and 2 assists in 21 starts, and his average rating was 6.78. Potentially, I might have been able to use him like in a slightly different way, but in terms of how he was just moaning the whole season that he wanted to leave. He kept saying he wanted to leave for like bigger clubs and everything like this. So to be honest, on hindsight, I'm really, really happy to get rid of him from Swansea. I also let Jordi Amat leave the club as well. Again, he was pretty much in the same boat as Ayew, that he just wanted to leave to go to a bigger club. I didn't particularly want to sell Amat at all. As you know, he's only 24 years old at the moment, so he's a perfect player to keep hold of if you are using the Moneyball approach. He's got a professional personality with determination of 15, so he's certainly getting to that age where he would have been good for tutoring other players as well. Last season, he played a lot of games for us as well. He started 32 Premier League games. He managed to get 5 goals. Most of them were from like corners and things like that. He made a lot of tackles. Really, really good player, to be honest. 7.15 average rating in the Premier League. So I didn't really want him to go, but Tottenham ended up putting in a couple of bids for Amat. I rejected like the first few of them, and he just basically got unhappy. As a result of that, a lot of the other players at the club decided to, back Amat, and they basically said that I should let him leave for another club. So pretty much I needed to let him go. I just tried to get as much money for him as possible, and yeah, Tottenham came in with an £8 million bid. I also let Tabayew leave the club as well to Watford for £7 million. So Tabayew is 27 years old. To be honest, he's a pretty decent player, but I did see another player who came up onto the transfer market. So basically, I sold Tabayew for £7 million, and I bought Kyle Walker in for £3.3 million. So obviously, Kyle Walker is like a England international, and yeah, as you can see here, I got him for £3.3 million, which is pretty much half the value of what I sold Tabayew for. So the only reason I actually sold Tabayew was because I did see Kyle Walker come up on the basically on the transfer list. So yeah, I decided to basically just swap Tabayew for Kyle Walker. So I've got a younger player. I know Kyle Walker's not exactly young, but 26. He's certainly still got enough years left in him. An England international for £3.3 million. So pretty happy with that transfer deal. Fernandez as well, I sold to Lazio for £6 million. Again, another player that just wanted to get out of the club, so I was more than happy to get shot of him, to be honest. As soon as I started this Swansea save file, he was moaning pretty much constantly that he just wanted to get out of the club. So again, another player that I was more than happy to get rid of. Eder was a player that I just needed to get rid of. I just had enough players in the team, sort of strikers who were much better than Eder. So pretty happy to get £1.4 million for him. I probably could have got a little bit more money for him, but yeah, to be honest, I just needed to get rid of him. So 1.4 is not too bad. Again, Cole Norton, he can play left or right back. You may see here, I'll show you him in a minute, but you can see that I have managed to bring in Carl Jenkinson from Arsenal for £4 million. And of course, with the inclusion of Kyle Walker for £3.3 million. Basically, I've just got two players that are a hell of a lot better than Cole Norton. So yeah, it was a bit of a no-brainer to sell Cole Norton with Jenkinson and Kyle Walker coming into the club. There was lots and lots of kind of youth players that went on free transfers, and what I've also been working on is just getting rid of, well, not getting rid of, but making sure that I am loaning out a lot of my sort of youth team players just so they can try and get some good experience. There's a few players that I've got, keeping a bit of a keen eye on. So Alex Samuel, I'm hoping that he has a good season at Birmingham. Adam King, I'm hoping that he has a good season as well at Peterborough. And I think Stephen Fallon, I think he's 19 years old at the moment. So he's a player that I am keeping a little bit of an eye on at the moment. What I'm really hoping with Fallon is that he has quite a decent season, then hopefully his value can increase, and then I should be able to sell him for a little bit of a profit. So probably the kind of better bit of this episode is just having a look at the players that I have managed to bring into the club. So I'll start from the top. So the first player that I managed to bring in was Carl Jenkinson from Arsenal. He was basically listed as a backup player for Arsenal, so signing him for £4 million I think was an absolute no-brainer. He's 24 years old and is now worth £5.5 million. I do think I'll be able to get him into the England setup if he plays well for me, and certainly Carl Jenkinson is pretty much going to play every single game for me, so really happy to have him into the club. Jack Colback I've signed for £1.4 million. Again, Newcastle listed him as a backup player, so I think the experience that Jack Colback's got, he's 26 years old at the moment. I just like that his kind of like work rate. He's really good at tackling. I think in terms of just a player that's like quite a steady player, and someone that can just bring in a little bit of competition into the midfield, I think Jack's going to be a really good player to do that for us. We also have a new centre back as well, a guy called Ismiat Mirin. I signed this guy from PSV. So last season he did actually play quite a number of games for PSV. He made 14 starts. I do like the look of this guy, to be honest. So they signed him for £1.8 million. I think it must have been from Monaco by the looks of things. But for some reason, although he made 14 appearances for PSV, they actually listed him as a backup player. So yeah, I was actually able to pick him up for pretty cheap. So I've actually signed him for £3 million, and now he's worth nearly £6 million. So yeah, near enough, he's kind of like doubled his value. Because he's 24 years old at the moment, he's got a resolute personality. So yeah, he's got really good determination. He's got really high work rate. I think this guy's got a lot of sort of improving to do as well. So you can see here that he's a good player for most Premier League teams. And I think he's going to be a really good player, to be honest. I'm actually really happy to have him into the team, and I think he should do pretty well for us. A player that I'm really excited to bring into the club is Carrillo. This is a 25-year-old Argentinian player. He's mostly used as a target man, and I signed him for £4.9 million. If we have a look at how he played last season, so I was just looking for players that managed to score quite a lot of goals, and also players that had a decent shots on target percentage ratio. And this guy was one of the players that did, sort of show up as being a pretty decent player to me. So yeah, signed him for £4.9 million. He got 12 goals in 20 appearances, and 17 goals in 30 appearances for Monaco last season. So I think this guy's going to be pretty decent, to be honest. He's 6'3", 25 years old, near enough worth £10 million at the moment. His description is a towering striker. Again, I was looking for players with decent personality because I want to be able to tutor other players and, just make the most of that as well. And yeah, really happy to bring him in. So finishing a 16, heading 18, jumping reach 17, strength 16. So an absolute powerhouse in the air, this guy. certainly the goals or sort of clips that I have seen him during the pre-season, he does look to be a really, really good player. So yeah, really excited to have this guy into the team. I also bought in Rani Khedira from can't remember what team that is, but yeah, Rani Khedira is a 22-year-old German ball-winning midfielder. I really do like the look of this guy, so I've bought him for £4 million, and now he's worth £6.25 million. At only 22 years old, I think this guy's absolutely fantastic. Have a look at his mental attributes. So I like that he's got really, really good bravery at 16. He's got fantastic determination. His work rate is 18. He's got fantastic physical attributes as well. Potentially his technical attributes could do with improving slightly, but I do think he's got enough potential in him to improve as much as possible. The next player might raise a few eyebrows, but when you see how much I'm paying in terms of wages, you can see why I decided to bring him in. So Ravel Morrison, we'll have a little bit of a closer look at him. So yeah, Ravel Morrison is basically only on £10,000 a week. I think we're paying about £9,000 a week for his wages. In terms of what he can actually bring to the table, so obviously, in terms of personality, he might be a little bit of a liability, but there's absolutely no doubt in his talent at all. We've currently got him on loan. He's worth £7.5 million. He's still only 23 years old, Ravel Morrison, but looking at him when I watch him on like the 3D match engine and things like that, I'm actually really, really excited to have Ravel into the team. He's got 20 flair, fantastic pace, dribbling 17, passing 15, technique of 16, vision 15, off the ball 14. He has got loads and loads of great attributes, and I will try and get the most out of Ravel Morrison. Obviously, if he doesn't perform too well, then I might end up just sort of terminating his loan. I do have the option to do that, but, I did think it was definitely worth taking a punt on Ravel Morrison just to see how he gets on. The next player I got in is just to provide a little bit of cover at fullback. So we brought in Nakawali from Man City on loan. I think this guy, in terms of wages, we're actually only paying £3,000 a week. He's pretty decent. In terms of his current ability, he's just suited to Championship football at the moment. But I did have a look. So last season he was playing in the Spanish top league for Girona, and he managed to get a 6.87 rating in 33 appearances. So personally, I do think at 19 years old, with that experience that he managed to get last season, I reckon he should do pretty well just to provide cover for us. And only £3,000 a week, it's not exactly a big deal if he completely flops. We signed another 23-year-old as well. So this guy is a Dutch midfielder. I was looking for someone to just provide a little bit of cover or competition to John Joe Shelby in the sort of deep line playmaker position. And I think this guy should do pretty decent. So I signed him for £3.5 million. Now he's worth near enough £7 million. I do like the look of this guy. He's got some pretty good attributes in terms of his more creative ones. So he's got passing 16, technique 15. He's got teamwork 16, vision 15, and work rate 16 as well. So I really do like the look of this guy. Quite how much first team football he's going to get at the beginning, I'm not particularly too sure. But yeah, I am certainly hoping to, kind of use him as much as possible. And yeah, hopefully develop him into a pretty decent player. I've already showed you Kyle Walker. Really, really happy to bring Kyle Walker into the team. So last season, he only actually played one game for Tottenham. He did actually get a 9 in that one game that he played. I'm not particularly too sure why he only actually ended up playing one game, but I'm certainly more than happy to bring him into the club, and I do think he's going to be a really, really good signing for us. So what Moneyball teaches us as well, guys, is to try and look for players that can bring value to our team that other teams don't value. So obviously, because Tottenham did not value Kyle Walker at all, I managed to bring him in for really, really cheap at £3.3 million. Now he's worth near enough £5.5 million. So I personally do think this should be a pretty good signing for us. So I also got a goalkeeper in Ruben Blanco. I just got him on loan basically just to provide a little bit of cover. I basically ended up selling my second choice goalkeeper Nordfeldt to Marseille for 800k, and just to kind of bring in a little bit of a cheaper alternative, I bought in Blanco from Celta on loan for the season. Now, this guy here is probably someone that's going to be well known by pretty much everybody who plays Football Manager. So yeah, Dennis Pratt, or Prayet, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. He's a guy that I'm really, really excited to bring into the team. So in 33 appearances last season for Anderlecht, he managed to get 10 assists in 33 appearances with average rating of 7.35. So really, really creative player. I don't particularly know why they only why they let him go for £4 million. Obviously, I'm not going to complain. He's worth near enough £7 million now. Yeah, really, really, really good player. I really do like the look of this guy. I'm going to be getting him tutored, hopefully by someone else, just to improve his personality and obviously his determination. He's got fantastic passing ability, good technique, good work rate, good vision. He can actually put his foot into a tackle as well. So this guy, I reckon, is a little bit of a, like an all-round midfielder, to be honest. But yeah, certainly someone I'm really, really happy to bring into the club. And at only 22 years old, he's going to be a fantastic signing for us, hopefully. So if we take a look at the team in terms of current ability, we got, I do think it's really, really taking shape now. We got some fantastic players into the team now. The likes of John Joe Shelvey, Montero, Neil Taylor was already there. And then obviously most of the new players we have brought in are really, really, adding to the quality that we've got to the team. This guy, Alan Polido, I'm certainly looking to get him into the starting lineup as much as possible this season. I reckon he's going to be a really, really good striker, and I reckon I'll be able to increase his value by quite a lot. Potentially sell him in next summer or the summer after, but I reckon he'll do really, really well for us this season. So as I mentioned, we are going to be playing against Chelsea today. It's a way which, unfortunately, is pretty tricky start. If we just have a look at some of the other fixtures we got coming up, so we've got Leicester, Blackpool, Southampton, Burnley, Reading, Manchester United, Ipswich and Villa. So the start of the season, we do really, really have to make a strong start to the season, otherwise we probably will be out of a job, unfortunately. Because last season was absolutely horrendous, we do need to have a really, really strong start to this season. And I just need to pretty much go gun-ho in every single sort of competition that we do enter. Obviously, with the change in tactics and things like that, I'm actually really, really happy with the way things have been going. But yeah, we do have to get off to a really strong start. Okay, so we're ready for this Chelsea game. I've just given the team talk, just told the players that I've got faith in them. We'll just run through the starting 11 really quickly. So we've got Fabianski in goal, Jenkinson right back, Ismat Marin at centre back alongside Williams. We've got Neil Taylor left back, Khedira, Prayet, Shelvey, Morrison, Montero, and our new striker Carrillo up front. Basically, I'm using Ravel Morrison as an inside forward, Prayet and Shelvey in the middle. Really, really creative player with Khedira just providing that steal in the middle. And then we've got the massive striker up front in Carrillo. So fingers crossed we can get off to a decent start in this game. Okay, so within the first 20 minutes, it's still 0-0 here. We've actually had a couple of shots on target. Chelsea have not actually managed to record any shots on target as of yet. So John Terry pumps the ball forward. And the ball drops out wide to... That was a pretty decent save by Fabianski. Really, really happy with that. So Chelsea are having a lot of the ball at the moment, but we're passing it around quite nicely. So Williams onto Shelvey. Nice ball over the top to Carrillo. Onto Prayet. Khedira in the middle. You can see that we're actually passing the ball around pretty nicely here. We probably should have scored that one. So John Joe Shelvey with the cross here. Potentially Eden Hazard might break here. Yeah, we've got Carl Jenkinson at the back. Ooh, almost got the ball here. Just trying to see what's going to be happening here. So Chelsea are really, really pressing us here. Thank God that was offside and we move on now. So just before half time, we just had a corner and the ball comes out to Prayet onto Khedira to Shelvey. Montero's going to keep possession of the ball here out to Khedira onto Shelvey. We just can't really find an opening at the moment, but Montero, he just hit the post, guys. So just before half time, we just hit the post, which is really, really unlucky by Montero there. To be honest, I'm absolutely over the moon with that first half performance. So I'm just going to stay calm and I'm just going to tell the players I'm happy with their performance. I can see that most of the players are pretty happy with that. I'm going to tell our striker that I'm not happy with his performance today. And also Ashley Williams, I'm going to tell him that I'm not particularly happy with his performance as well. So we'll start the second half, guys. I am really, really happy with that first half, and I would definitely take a 0-0 draw away from Chelsea as our first game of the season. That would be a pretty decent start, I reckon. So free kick to Chelsea here. John Terry manages to get his head onto that and yeah, makes it 1-0 to Chelsea, unfortunately. So yeah, first game of the season. We have actually played pretty decently. Fabianski maybe could have got a little bit of a stronger hand on that, but yeah, Terry makes it 1-0 to Chelsea here. So We certainly do need to be pressing forward here, just trying to get that equaliser. I'll see if we can carve out any more chances in this second half. Hopefully we can make a few more changes just to make that happen. Okay guys, so unfortunately it has actually finished 1-0 to Chelsea here. So yeah, to be honest, I think away at Chelsea, obviously we weren't particularly expected to get too much, but obviously it would have been pretty decent if we could have come away with a decent start to the season. I do know that we need to get some points on the board early doors, so hopefully that's what we're going to be able to do. I am going to call this the end of the episode here, guys, because I just want to crack on with this season and just get some games under my belt. But yeah, if you are enjoying this series, please do press the like button. It really does help the channel. Of course, leave your comments below, and of course subscribe to the channel, and we'll be back very soon for some more episodes in this series. Thanks for watching.